Thank you for tuning into part 2 of the Facebook Friday OTRSCentral Q&A. In the future, these Facebook Friday Q&As happen when? Every Friday. Where do you post your questions? Facebook. There you go. That information should be in the description box down below as you're watching this video. And make sure throughout the video, if you've missed some of the recent content here on OTRSCentral, make sure to click the annotation so that way you can watch it after you watch this Q&A. So let's get started with part 2 here. Demetrius Blackwell. Where would wrestling be if it wasn't scripted? Well, isn't that an interesting thing? It'd be boring amateur wrestling. Sorry, that's the truth. Or it would be something where you'd have to be the biggest dude in the world to win. It would be a boring piece of shit to watch, I can tell you that much. Because nobody would ever run off the ropes. You know, if it was real, somebody get hit in the face hard enough or something one time, they'd be knocked out. Well, how do you tell a story with that? The match is over. Ken Lee, what did you think of Triple H saying on Stone Cold's podcast that they write as they go? Sounds about right. There's no surprise. If he said anything other than that, he'd be completely disingenuous because it's clear to see that there is a big-time lack of long-term vision in the WWE writing and creative process. It is fly by the seat of the pants right as you go. So I at least acknowledge Triple H's honesty there and respect it. Because it's true. How could you deny it? It clearly is what happened. Let's see here. Who do we got next? Cynthia Davidson. Do you hate Randy Orton as much as you used to? Because it seems you hate Cena more nowadays. Probably true on both accounts. I don't hate Orton as much as I used to, in part because, frankly, he's not being pounded down my throat quite as much. And as far as Cena, yeah, I probably am aggravated with him more than I ever have been. And the ironic thing is that it's just a wear and tear of over the years, because it's not like Cena is going to be in the title picture at WrestleMania, but the fact is he was in the title picture and the main event scene so much in 2014 yet again. And then what would have been the right year to induct Savage into the Hall of Fame while he was still alive? Probably 2008 when they were down in Orlando. Otherwise, the other real option would have been WrestleMania 22 when they were in Chicago. That would have been the really right one. I mean, since you're talking about a kid that grew up in the Chicagoland area, that would have been the show. Or the other show would have been WrestleMania 24. One of those two would have been the right one. I mean, if you wanted to throw out a third option, maybe 2004, WrestleMania 20, you're in the Garden. That could have been the other one. Rodney Tussinger, in your opinion, do you think Vader was under or overrated in the WWF? I don't think that's the question. I think it's more so, was he underutilized and underappreciated? And I think it's a big time yes on both accounts. I thought they really wasted their opportunity with Vader, and they really squandered him. I've never really understood why. I mean, I have certain beliefs as to why, but at the end of the day, they had fucking Big Van Vader, and they didn't do shit with him. How ridiculous was that? There was so much more money to be made with him that ultimately never was, and it's disappointing when I look back at it. Juan Biz Morales, if you could bring one deceased wrestler back for one more match, who would it be? And if you would have a beer with any wrestler, who would it be? Or in terms of the beer with any wrestler, I'd probably be Taker. If I could bring back any deceased wrestler for one more match, it would be Savage. Nevpreet Singh, how long do you believe the Yes Movement gimmick can last? It's kind of pushed the what chant to the side. I think that chant, the Yes chant, is going to be here to stay for years and will transcend way past just Daniel Bryan. That's got 5, 8, 10 years of shelf life to it, probably. As far as the Yes Movement itself, probably last as long until Danny Bryan's next injury. Morgan Thomas, do you think that Bobby Roode could be a star in the WWE, and why? I do. I mean, he's not the youngest guy, so I'm not sure how long of a run he could have. But I look at him and I see some elements of him that I compare favorably to, let's say, a Triple H. Here's a guy that's big enough. Here's a guy that can talk. Here's a guy that can work. Here's a guy that can work both face and heel. I think there's a lot of things you could do with a Bobby Roode in the WWE, and I've always wanted to see Bobby Roode in the WWE because I think he could be a decent-sized star for them. And a Canadian of that. What's that all about? All right, let's see here. Mark Barnes, what are your thoughts on Sylvester Stallone inducting Hulk Hogan into the WWE Hall of Fame, and do you think he was the right guy to do it? mean, he did it. I would have rather had somebody else induct Hogan other than freaking Sylvester Stallone. I mean, I get why they did it. They were in Hollywood. You know, that's where Hogan really got his big break, was being Thunderlips on Rocky 3. But I'd have rather seen Vince do it or Savage do it, you know, for me. But they did what they did, and I don't really have any complaints about it. Let's see here. Jesse Hawkins. If WWE does not decide to have Seth Rollins cash in Money in the Bank after Roman Reigns wins the world title, not only would it be stupid to end Mania with Roman holding the WWE world title up high, but what the hell will WWE's shitty-ass writing team go from there after Mania if they miss the opportunity to have Seth Rollins cash in and win the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania? I'm not even really sure you ever had a question in there. Was that just a post? Did I waste my time reading that? Yeah. I mean, yeah, where would they go from there? Okay, I guess that's a question. To make the questions a little more obvious, Jesse Hawkins. Where the hell they would go from there? Well, I've made my opinions well known on what I would do with the main event at this point in time. I've been talking about it for a while. And there you go. Chris Wasson. Who did the stuttering gimmick better, Goldust or Bubba Ray Dudley? Goldust. Bubba Ray's pissed me off. Goldust was funny. That to me was just a way to fuck with the ECW guys and teach them a lesson and let them know who was really running the show. Goldust made his work better. I thought his was funnier. Okay. Brian Walmer, do you think it would be hypocritical for WWE not to let Daniel Bryan possibly main event WrestleMania for a second year in a row in a triple threat, this time involving Reigns and Lesnar, because it seems they had no problem letting Hulk Hogan and John Cena main event multiple WrestleManias in a row for the championship? What are your thoughts on that, Jeff? Do you agree or not? Yeah, I mean, I've seen people talk about that. Well, Austin won 3 Rumbles, and Hogan won back-to-back Rumbles, and Shawn Michaels won back-to-back Rumbles. Yeah, you know, it's a fair point. I don't disagree with people. That's true. But, okay. You're comparing Daniel Bryan now to fucking Hogan. Give me a break. We're comparing Bryan to Austin. Get fucking real. We're even comparing Daniel Bryan to Shawn Michaels. Are you fucking serious? Are we that deluded? Are we that delusional? Are we that out of touch? Has it really gotten that bad to where Daniel Bryan is the best thing you have going today? Where Daniel Bryan is the biggest star you have today? And that we are actually comparing him to those type of names and those type of talents. Wow. That is an indication of just how bad of a way the wrestling business is. Sorry, it's true though. Of all the guys, the hottest star in the business, arguably, is Daniel Bryan. Come on, man. Daniel Bryan. There's one thing, he's a star. I mean, that's fine. But this is the guy? Daniel Bryan is the guy. As far as what you're talking about here, would it be hypocritical for them to not let Daniel Bryan do it a second year in a row? I guess you could argue that. I mean, you know, based off of that logic, you know, I can understand it, but, you know, hey, whatever. Let's see here. Fuck, marry, kill from Chris Wasson. Victoria, Linda McMahon, or Linda Miles? I'd fuck the shit out of Victoria and marry Linda McMahon because she has the most money, I believe, and then Linda Miles, whatever. Let's see here. Danny Robichaux. What stipulation, if any, should or could there possibly be for Triple H versus Sting at WrestleMania? I suppose there could be a retirement gimmick. Control of the show. I don't know if it really needs a gimmick or a shtick or a hook. Or do I think the match needs to happen this year? But that's just me. Sierra and Crichton. What would you do with Eric Rowan in 2015? Not go out of my way to make him look stupid. Try to give people a reason to get behind him. You know, actually consistently feature him. I do a lot of different things. Let's see here. NJ Brady. As I am against feeding Rusev to Cena right now due to Cena's track record against the newer talent, would you have Rusev face at Mania instead, and who would you have eventually defeat Rusev? I've talked about this before. In both cases, it would have been Ryback. It would have been Ryback that would have been the one to face Rusev at Mania, and it would have been Ryback to ultimately beat Rusev at Mania. And the way I would have done it would have been to have Ryback come back as a surprise at WrestleMania and beat Rusev in incredibly short order. That's what I would have done. That's just me, though. Let's see here. James Forkham, how would you book Randy Orton when he returns? Probably have to send him at Seth Rollins. It's probably who you've got to go at. Let's see here. Will Richardson. If Daniel Bryan has a gripe about never getting a rematch for the title, shouldn't Curtis Axel have the same gripe about never having the chance to enter the Royal Rumble? I get that people are getting behind this. I like that Curtis Axel's got a little bit of a shtick here, but never entered. Doesn't matter. Who cares? Let's hear Joseph Rowe. What were your thoughts of Triple H on Stone Cold's podcast on Monday? Did Austin come down hard on him like Vince or not? I don't think he was that particularly hard on Vince, and he most certainly wasn't on Triple H. It was very disappointing. I thought Austin kind of softballed that interview. That was sad to see. And there were some real tough, serious questions that I felt needed to be answered, and they WWE'd it. I mean, if we're going to go there and we're just going to say kayfabe is fucking dead, like, Triple H talked about so much on that podcast, then let's cut the bullshit and let's get to the heart of the matter and let's get to the truth of the matter. You want to talk about reality era? Let's make it fucking reality era. And let's ask those tough questions that deserve to demand to be answered. And, of course, that didn't happen, nor should we have expected it to. Let's see here. Dylan Stevenson, do you think the WWE will unify the U.S. and IC titles by the time we reach SummerSlam? And who would you have unify them? Doesn't matter. I'm just being realistic, man, honest here. Doesn't matter. And furthermore, do they care? And what does it really make a difference whether they unify them or not? Dawsey Chatham, what are your thoughts on the rumored tag team of Ryback and Dolph Ziggler? I'll be talking about that on the Triple Threat Sunday. We'll leave it at that. Too Loyal Dez, your thoughts on TNA signing Drew McIntyre? Do you think TNA can make a star out of him that WWE failed to do? Good opportunity for him, probably a good place for him, so I don't have a problem with that. Not going to make me watch Impact for the time being, but good for them. Mario, the King of Hearts, Alcime. If Bray Wyatt goes over Taker at Mania, will the fans boo him worse than they booed Roman Reigns at the 2015 Royal Rumble? I don't know about that. Yeah, some of those hardcores that'll pay the ridiculous prices to go to WrestleMania will like Bray Wyatt, and they'll sadistically like the fact that he went over Taker. So, no, I don't think he'll get that type of heat. He'd get heat, but I'm just not sure he'd get that type of heat necessarily. Let's see here. Son Goshaku. Will we see a Stone Cold podcast with Triple H review from you or not? No. I really don't think that Triple H said that much in the way of interesting or compelling stuff like Vince McMahon did that would give me the need to do several videos about that particular podcast. I just don't. It just wasn't that eye-opening. It just wasn't that shocking at all. Let's see here. Graham Burley, what was your favorite wrestling promotion in the late 90s? By the time we got to the end of 99, it was probably WWF, ECW, WCW in that particular order. Throughout the mid to late 90s, it vacillated quite a bit. WWF, I think, fully hooked me back in about mid to late 98, and I didn't leave. But it wasn't always that case. Let's see here. That will be it for this second part of the Facebook Friday Q&A here on OTRS Central. Again, thanks to you guys that took the OTRS Central Facebook page and posted your questions. I'll be doing a Twitter Q&A next Wednesday, the Facebook Friday Q&A again on Friday. Make sure you check out the video schedule for OTRS Central all month long on this channel. And also make sure you check out all the content that's come up so far in the month of February here on OTRS Central. I'll see you later.